Alright, so guys, I saw this guy painting over here. And if you need to cover that much, look at all the bushes are covered up. What a waste of materials. Check that out. And it's not like he's some young guy. He's an older guy. Look at him. He's older. And he's got all this stuff covered up. I mean, you'd think after doing this that many years, did you learn how to not get overspray? You had to control your gun, set your pressure right, but he's got everything covered. I mean, man, that's just a waste of money right there. You need to cover that much? That's just not right. Bet you anything, I can tell you right now, he's going to whip out a pole. He's going to use a pole gun because he doesn't want to get up on a ladder. And he's going to try and do this. And then you have no control. You can't get an even spray on those eaves with a pole. And all the overspray is going to fall down like rain. And the thing is, that's not enough covering if you're going to use a pole. I mean, you pretty much need to cover all the way out to, where the shadow is. If you're going to be doing that with a pole gun with primer, because they were over there scraping the eaves yesterday. So anyway, just you guys, that's a waste of money, waste of labor. It's not the right way to do it, but it's pretty entertaining. I like to watch. It's kind of funny. All right, talking to you guys. So the funny thing is, the only reason that they don't have me paint it is because it's a second marriage he's always asking me, hey, what do you think of that guy? He goes, I don't know why this guy did all this. And he always asks me stuff like that, But his wife has, their second marriage, right? And her son knows all these guys, so he brings them over. She always asks her son. She's not going to ask me because I'm their neighbor. The son is the one they always ask. So I just think it's funny. I've watched the last guy took him a month to paint this house. I mean, that house is only about 1,800 square feet or something like that. And he was there a month to paint it. And 4 years later, the eaves are completely peeling. Well, like I said, once it peels once in the eaves, it's going to peel again. But that's kind of early. So it's just as I figured, guys. He's got a 12-inch or 24-inch pole with a swivel on the end. And as soon as he pulls that trigger, watch the paint fall. Look at it all. Overspray coming down like rain. That's why he had to cover everything up. So, you can tell this guy by his demeanor, and this worker, he's just a worker. He's not the company owner. I can tell this guy is really, I'm trying to make sure he doesn't see me. He's really not very happy. He doesn't like working for this guy, but he's just like, I got a job, I'm just trying to get paid. And, this is what happens when you do this to your guys and you make them do all this extra covering and everything else, and you do everything bass-ackwards. What happens is your guys get burnt out and they leave you. Because I got a friend that he works just like this. And I go over to his job sites and I go, dude, why are you doing all this stuff? He goes, oh, no, that's how we got to do it. And I go, no. I said, do this and this and this. And he's like, oh, then he tries it for a little bit and it works. And he goes, wow, that's not so bad. Then he goes back. I leave him for a while. And then he goes back to doing everything this way, the same way, covering up everything and blowing paint all over the place. So, if you're doing this, you need to change your game. You got to learn how to spray. Watch my videos on how to spray without getting overspray. Get the swivel off your thing. Use a ladder and no pole. Yeah, it's harder. Yeah, it's harder at first. But if you don't have to do all this covering, then of course, look, it's a lot easier in the long run. The whole thing's easier. So let me just back up again, explain to you guys how that you would do this the right way. And you could use 12-inch paper and cover up all those eaves. And because you're going to use primer, you're going to have to use low pressure. You're going to have to use a flat tip. You're going to have to use a handgun and get rid of that pole. So when you're using the pole gun, what happens is you create all this extra work because now you have all this covering to do. Because you're too lazy to get up on a ladder. It's really it's bass-ackwards. So what I would do is I would use 12-inch paper all the way around because I'm going to put 2 coats on. If I wasn't, maybe I would use a shield and then just touch up the stucco. I'd match the color perfect on the stucco. You wouldn't even see what I did. It would look absolutely 100% perfect when I was done. Then be straight lines with a brush. I'll talk to you guys later about how to brush a straight line stucco in another video. But, you know, if you're doing this type of thing, and then you use a handgun and a flat tip, use a smaller flat tip, not a real big one, maybe a 515, and then keep your pressure fairly low and have a nice filter on there for your material, strain your material. And then, you know, you are going to get some more fallout with or overspray, however you want to say it, with the primer than you are with the paint. But you're also going to have to chase it with a roller. And I don't see a guy, you know, he just set up this gun. I'm going to see if he sets up a roller behind him, because really you should be back rolling the primer into because I know there's peeling eaves. That's the issue. I haven't gone over there or anything. And the only reason my neighbor doesn't hire me, he doesn't own the house. It's his wife's house. So his wife they got this thing, you know, where they got it all figured out, where all their stuff is separate from each other. And it's funny, he's always over asking me, he goes, what do you think of that painter? He goes, look, I was crazy. He goes, well, that's one of my son-in-laws, you know, or my steps, or whatever it is, his wife's son's people that he sends over to do this stuff. So, you know, so it's her deal. So, but he gives me stuff to do all the time. It's funny. He goes, hey man, my church needs some stuff. Can you go over and help me? Ah, sure. No problem. No big deal. So again, the problem with this is that you're going to have to, in order to make any money, you're going to have to push your guys extra hard, because now you spend all this money on plastic and you got all this money in labor on covering everything. So you don't have any much money for labor for your guys. So you're going to have to push them and work them extra hard. So that's what happens with companies that do this all the time. And then they push their guys and they go, hey man, I can't get anybody to work for me, you know, because why? Because the guy's, you know, doing this crazy stuff. So of course he had to move his van out of the way because he's going to get overspray all over it. Well, too bad. I think they saw me videoing him, so they moved him to the back of the house to start, which, oh, whatever. But, you know, the guy probably doesn't do a terrible job, but I don't see him back rolling anything. And, you know, that all should be back. If you're trying to prime your eaves and to bridge everything together, like I explained, to try and, you know, stop peeling from coming back as fast, it's going to come back. But if you're trying to get it to stop it from coming back as fast, you know, really you need to back roll it and push it in together to kind of bridge all the peeling together with primer. Otherwise, the primer is just not going to really do anything. It's not going to, you know, maybe it'll make the paint adhere to the areas that are raw, but, you know, it's not really going to help as far as making it last longer, you know. So anyway, it's just, you know, look, you know, I'm not saying that this job isn't going to last, okay? I'm saying that, you know, the labor cost is going to be really making you a problem with your guys. And it's just, see that, there's just paint flying everywhere from that pull gun with a swivel. You know, I tell everybody, don't use those. I mean, there's really no need for it. A 4-foot ladder, there's nothing on this whole house you can do. You can use a 4-foot ladder on this whole house. 2 steps, maybe even just a 1-step ladder, and you could reach all that by hand. But they're using a pole and all that overspray, so they got to cover everything, all that wasted labor. If you just used, you know, you could just carry a drop around with you, throw it over the railing, you know, throw it over a couple things and use a 12-inch paper, and you'd have all this masking done, and you'd have this whole job done in a day. But they're going to be here 4 days. So that's 12 man days, or 4. Well, I got 3 guys, so that's 4 times 3. That's 12 man days. So at 12 man days, you're not going to make any money unless you're charging people a ridiculously high price, and he probably is. So that's the way it kind of works out. Unfortunately, you can't really see that. Unfortunately, you just can't see that paint just falling down like rain. You know it is. I mean, I can tell. But, you know, I'm just trying to get you guys to see, you know, this is not the way to make money painting. And either you're bilking your customer for lots of money, or you're, not making any money yourself, or your guys are getting cheated. Somebody's getting cheated. There's no way you can, pay for all this landfill waste. Look at all that stuff goes in landfills. It's just nuts.